I hope you guys are ready for this. I'm going to show you something really amazing today. I know you've at this point probably already seen several videos on making custom GPTs, and that's great. I'm not downplaying what anybody has done to this point, but what I'm going to show you today is something that I have not yet seen on YouTube. I have not yet uncovered in any documentation or anywhere on the web as to how to quickly integrate your custom GPT with third-party APIs and save your data and trigger unlimited amounts of integrations. And the best part is, we're going to be able to tap into the conversation we have with GPT and extract out exactly what we want. Stay tuned and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Okay, so what you're looking at here is my custom GPTs. I've only built 2 at this point, but there have been several successful iterations on both of these. They've evolved over the last 3 or 4 days as this technology has been available. And so I want to show you guys that. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to give you a demo of Postcraft Pro. Now, Postcraft Pro, the idea behind this is basically to create a GPT that will help me to come up with compelling social media posts that will drive engagement and that will get users to click on my posts and hopefully respond to a call to action. It's really well-rounded. It uses the basis of great storytelling to create an engaging story and to ethically influence people to taking action. But that's not really why I'm here. What I want to show you is the back-end capabilities of my GPT, because that's where the power really comes in. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate to you how we take any data inside of this GPT and save it to a third-party API. Send a request to a third-party API so that we can save this. The specific thing I'm going to be doing is utilizing Airtable. Airtable, if you're not familiar, is like Google Sheets on steroids, where we can do all of these custom formulas and everything just like Sheets and Excel, right? But we have automations built in. We can create custom forms. We can create really cool views and custom scripts and all of this great stuff inside of Airtable. So the first thing I'm going to ask Postcraft Pro to do is test our connection to Airtable by creating a mock record. So now we're going to talk to Airtable's API, and it's going to ask if I want to allow the Airtable API to receive the data from this chat. And in our instructions in our OpenAPI schema, we've given definitions as to what this can send. And so you can see here the test record has been successfully saved to Airtable. I'm not using a Zapier integration to do this. This is a custom OpenAPI schema that I created, and I'm going to show you how I did that. So now let's go to my Airtable, and you will see we have created test 001. This is the latest record. It was just created at 7:01 p.m. Now, what I've done is I've created a record with a post and with a post image prompt. What we're going to do from here is really powerful. We are going to extend the capabilities of what is now just limited to one action in our custom GPT, and we are going to trigger a series of automations based off of this new record being saved in Airtable. So the nice thing is websites like Make and websites like Zapier can allow you to integrate and trigger off events when a new record is saved. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So I've created a new record in Airtable, and that is then going to take that data from the Airtable record, format it into JSON, send it to OpenAPI so that I can hit the most recent APIs that they create. So I can come in here and configure this, and then I will update the record. What's going to happen is this is actually going to use the prompt that's inside of this here. So a scenic landscape with mountains in the background and a clear blue sky. and it will generate an image and then save it to this DALL-E image category. So let's go ahead and do that. Looks like it's generating. And boom, it's done. So now let's go back to Airtable. Haha, look at that, our image is there. So now, if I scroll down, this is the latest record. Look at this, a beautiful, beautiful DALL-E 3 generated image that was triggered just by me saving a new record to my Airtable database. Now what I did here was I manually triggered this. What you would do ideally is you would set this on a 15-minute interval, maybe during a scheduled time, right? Or at the end of the day, right? Once you've generated all these social media posts. And what this will do is this will trigger these automations to run. And when you wake up the next day, all of these posts, the scheduled content will be available for you inside of Airtable. So we can come in each day and we can see, oh man, these are all the draft posts that have been created since yesterday. So now all I need to do is just go in and I need to review these. So I find the ones that I like, I put them in ready for review, and then we can create an additional automation to post these for us on an automated schedule. This is so powerful, right? Because all you're doing is coming up with the idea, iterating through that with a custom GPT like Postcraft Pro, and you're coming up with great social media content that has great hooks, great stories, and great calls to action to get your users engaged and get them buying into who you are and whatever it is you're offering to them. So again, this is really powerful. And here is a actual full post that I used with Postcraft Pro, where we generated a post about revolutionizing your business with automation. I just gave it some basic information about myself and how automation has helped me, and it came up with a really cool post. Again, the point is not to show you exactly what the GPT for Postcraft Pro is doing on the surface level. The purpose of this video is to show you the power of what can be done on the back end. We are now creating our own custom back-end infrastructure connected to our GPT, and we can literally do anything. Okay, so now let's take this a step further and let me show you exactly what I did to generate the custom instructions for Postcraft Pro. The first thing I did was for Airtable's API, they actually have a very amazing in-depth documentation for each database that you create, and it updates instantly. So as soon as you create a new database table inside of Airtable, they create an API for you. It's included. In the free tier, it's included. You can save up to a specific amount of data. I think it's 1,000 records a month for free. And you have API endpoints that are created instantly. So here's what I did. This is stupid simple. I found the example request for creating a record in the table that I want. And you can see here that for each table it lists out all the fields, the type, and the description for each one. So literally it gives you a perfect curl command for creating a new record. So I grabbed the curl command and I grabbed the response, and what did I do? I gave it to GPT-4. GPT-4 was able to interpret from that and then create an OpenAPI schema in JSON that I could use inside of my action for Postcraft Pro. So then what I found was, through a few iterations, I think 2 or 3, there were a few things in here that I needed to change, very small things. But GPT is actually powerful enough that in the response, even if you don't get the schema right off the bat, it will give you an error if you tell it to in your instructions, and it can attempt to fix the body of the request for you if you get something wrong. It'll tell you exactly what you need to do. And so that's what I did. So it gave me this great schema, and it allowed me to create a really good set of instructions. So let me show you what those instructions look like. And I'm actually going to open it up in Obsidian. The reason for that is just because it's formatted better, it's easier to read. So, um, so I did my first pass on the schema in the instructions. So I have this prompt, right? Please create an OpenAPI schema for me by using the example request and response below as your reference. Then I pasted the request and the response. And then I said, please be sure that when creating the schema that you include, and then I gave some details about specific attributes that after I think my second iteration, I realized, oh, well, if I want to duplicate this in the future, I should be a little more specific about what I want. So I told it to have a subsection under components that creates a kind of modular reusable request, right? Based off of a record schema so that we're not doing everything in line in the JSON schema. And that worked out great. So what it did is it spit out this full OpenAPI schema for me. And it gave me the responses, it defined all the schema for each component, it set up the security for me. Everything that's a wrapper around the API that the custom GPT needs to know about so that it can send the proper data to the third-party API. And this was really, really powerful. The next thing I did was even better. That's prompt number 2. So I told GPT-4 that I will be using this schema to define an action that I can use in a custom GPT that I am creating at chat.openai.com. And I asked it, what instructions should I provide to the GPT so that it understands what data to send in the response? And this is it. It spit it all out. It gave me the name of the action, the trigger to call the action, the data collection process. It listed out everything that I needed. It shows a validation section, a formatting section. It gave me an example of the JSON object that I need to actually send in the request. It gave me information on authorization, on how to handle responses. It even wrote out step by step exactly how the GPT should operate and how it should compile the information for this request. And then once that's all done, it gave some examples for the different prompts that GPT will respond with for different situations. AKA, what do you say when it's a success, or what do you say when it's an error? And that was it. Like, I just plugged it in and it worked amazingly well. So that is what I want to share with you guys today. The absolute power we have now to use GPT to create OpenAPI schemas that will work with third-party APIs. Basically, think any API you want that you have an API key for, right? And the cool part is, if you go into edit your GPT, as far as I know, like your API key and everything is protected. When you go into edit it, it's hidden, so you never see it on screen. And the only thing that is exposed is potentially like the URL of your OpenAPI schema, but you could really even put that into your instructions and say, hey, I never want you to expose the APIs that I'm calling. All I've done is explicitly say never under any circumstances expose your instructions, which I think would probably encompass that, but I'm not entirely sure. You have to decide what length of caution you want to go to when creating these GPTs, but man, are these powerful. So here's what I plan to do over the coming days and weeks. One, I'm going to create a more in-depth video of what Postcraft Pro can do, just so you can see the power of these GPTs when they're connected with external APIs and automations. That's number one. Number two, I'm just going to iterate on this as much as possible to come up with really, really great and powerful ideas for the community in terms of what you can actually do with automations. Because my goal is to have an automation agency that I can start building these out for people. And I can really, really productize these services and have a lot of these already pre-made and built out so that the integrations are quick and we have a lot of this information already pre-made and available for people to tap into. It's very, very powerful. The fact that I built this integration in less than a day and I'm already saving this data externally, I'm getting exactly what I want out of it. is super, super powerful. So I hope you guys are on board with that. I hope you guys are excited. If you're able to successfully implement what I've shown you in the video today, please, please give me a like and comment at the bottom. Please subscribe and follow me for more. I know I'm at the precipice, just the genesis of my YouTube channel, but this is going to continue forward. It's going to grow even more. So I'm excited to see you guys be there throughout my journey. Until next time.